In this lecture, I will discuss the role of company salespeople in creating value for customers and building customers' relations. I will identify the 6 major sales force management steps. I'll also explain personal selling process. Finally, we're going to explore how sales promotion campaigns are developed and implemented. Personal selling uses in-person interactions to sell products and services. This type of communication is carried out by the sales representatives who are basically personally connected between the buyer and the company's products or services. The salesperson not only informs potential customers about companies' products or services, they also have the power to persuade and remind customers of the product characteristics, service agreements, prices, deals, and, well, just a ton of other stuff. In addition to enhancing customers' relations, this type of marketing communication tool can be a powerful source of customer feedback as well. Now, most people are really well educated and well trained professionals who add value for customers and maintain long term customer relationships. They listen to the customers, they assess the customer's needs, and they organize the company's efforts to help solve customers' problems. Effective personal selling addresses the buyer's needs and preferences without making him or her feel pressured. A good salesperson offers advice, information, and recommendations, and they can help buyers save money and time during the decision process. The seller should give honest responses to any questions or objections the buyer has and show that he cares more about meeting the buyer's need than making the sale. Attending to these aspects of personal selling contributes to strong, trusting relationships between the buyer and the seller. Now, the sales force serves as basically this critical link between the company and its customers. At the same time, though, salespeople represent the customers to the company. A strong relationship between the salesperson and the customer will result in a strong relationship between the company and its products. Poor salesperson's relationships will probably result in the opposite. Now, a company can take several actions to help bring its marketing and sales functions closer together. At the most basic level, it can increase communication between the two groups by arranging, joint meetings and spelling out communications channels. A company can also create joint objectives and reward systems. You may also appoint high level marketing executives to oversee both the marketing and the sales of a company. The first step in the selling process is prospecting and qualifying. A company needs to identify qualified potential customers. They want to call on those who are most likely to appreciate and respond to the company's marketing offerings. These need to be customers that basically the company can service well, and they must be profitable for the company. Now, the pre-approach refers to a salesperson learning as much as possible about the prospective customer before making the sales call, so that during the approach step, the salesperson should know how to meet, greet the buyer, and get a relationship off to a good start. Now, most often, salespeople will present and demonstrate the company's offerings. The salesperson tells the value story to the buyer. They demonstrate how the company's offerings solve the customer's problem. Now, this is the key is to focus on the customer's problem, the need, and how the product or service will reduce or eliminate the need for a time being, thus creating desire for the product. At the same time, they need to handle objectives. A salesperson should use positive approach, seeking out those hidden objectives. Ask the buyer to clarify about any objections. Taking objections as an opportunity to provide more information can really turn around a sale. In turn, the objection, they can be the reason that you can find for a customer to finally decide to purchase the product. Which kind of might seem odd that we actually have to say that there's a step called the closing, which basically refers to the salesperson asking the customer for an order. But new salespeople often forget the ask part of the order. They tend to wait for the customer to state whether or not they want the product. So if I'm selling cosmetics, a salesperson might ask the person that they're selling to, how many lipsticks would you like? Or if I'm doing business to business sales with a boat manufacturer, at the end of my demonstration and handling objectives, I may ask then, how much canvas would you need and when would you need that by? And then finally, the follow-up. Now, this refers to the salesperson following up after the sale to ensure the customer is satisfied and that there will be repeat business. This is a time where you can also handle any objections or anything that may not have gone quite the way that the customer expected. What we anticipate to happen and what actually happens quite often is different. So a good salesperson is going to be able to make those adjustments for the next sale. To manage customer relations effectively, a company needs a well-trained sales force, which is also known as the sales force management. After all, sales are the lifeblood of any organization. The management of the sales force process is one of the most important functions of any business. Thus, sales force management plays an integral role in the success of the marketing plan. A sales representatives are basically the eyes and ears of any business, and often the reason for the success or failure of a product is the sales representative. In order for a company to compete in the market and get brand recognition, a quality product needs a quality sales force. The sales force is the face of the brand or the product. Now, in recent years, that process has changed dramatically as a majority of sales now take place online or over the phone instead of in person. In response, sales management systems have become more technologically sophisticated. But the basic steps you see here have not changed, just the tools to complete those steps. Each company should select a Salesforce structure that best serves the needs of the customers and fits in its overall marketing strategy. There are three traditional types of Salesforce structures. A territorial Salesforce structure refers to a Salesforce that's organized around certain geographic territories, and a salesperson is generally assigned to that territory with exclusive rights to sell the company's full line. In a product Salesforce structure, a salesperson might specialize in selling only a portion of a company's product line. And finally, a customer or market Salesforce structure refers to a sales force in which a salesperson specializes in selling only to a certain customer or industry. So if I'm in the aluminum manufacturing, I may have a sales force that in some cases sell only to the airline industry. So an example, let's just say a company sells only one product line to one industry with customers in many locations. Most likely it will use a territorial Salesforce structure. It tends to be the most efficient for that. But let's say the company sells many products to many types of customers. It might need a product Salesforce structure or a customer Salesforce structure, or maybe even some combination of the two. Now, countless companies use some sort of a workflowed approach to set the Salesforce size. A Salesforce can range in size from only a few people to tens of thousands of people. Now, using this approach, a company first groups accounts into different classes according to size, account status, or other factors related to the amount of effort it's going to take to maintain those accounts. Then it will determine the number of salespeople needed to call on each class account, depending on the desired numbers of times that they feel the account needs to be serviced. A company can have an outside sales force, or sometimes referred to as a field sales force, and an inside sales force, or they could have both. Now, the outside salespeople travel to call on customers in the field. It's going to be a little hard for that farmer to come to us to talk about, new equipment. In contrast, an inside salesperson conducts business from the office via telephones, online, and social media interactions. And sometimes even the customers come and visit us. Technical sales support and sales assistants are examples of, you might say, inside salespeople. For example, technical support sales people provide technical information and answers to customers' questions. Sales assistants provide research and administrative backup for outside salespeople. Telemarketers and online sales use the phone, internet, and social media to find new leads and learn about customers and their businesses, or sales and service accounts directly. Now, most companies also use something called team selling to service very large and complex accounts. Team selling does have some pitfalls, however. For example, salespeople who are generally used to having customers all to themselves may have some trouble learning to work with others and trust others on the team. In addition, selling teams can be confusing or overwhelming to customers who are used to only working with one salesperson. And finally, let's face it, there can be difficulties in evaluating individuals' contributions to team selling efforts. And this can create what we might say some sticky compensation issues. When recruiting, a company should analyze the sales job itself and the characteristics of the most successful salespeople they have to identify the traits needed by successful salespeople in their industry. Basically, each industry is going to probably require different traits. However, all super salespeople are motivated from within. They have this unrelenting drive to excel. They desire to provide service and build relationships. They also have a disciplined work style. They lay out detailed, organized plans and then follow through in a timely manner. Super salespeople build the skills and knowledge they need to get the job done. They also understand their customers' needs. Now, a company must recruit the right salespeople. The human resource department will look for applicants in various ways. But a company will always be on the hunt to attract the top salespeople from other companies. Basically, a proven salesperson needs less training and can be productive. Training programs have several goals. First, salespeople need to know about the customer, how to build relationships with them. Therefore, a training program must teach them about different types of customers and their needs, buying motives, and the buying habits. It must teach them how to sell effectively and train them on the basics of the selling process. Salespeople also need to be able to know and identify with their own company, its products, but also the competitors to the company. Therefore, an effective training program teaches them about their company's objectives, the products that the company has, and the strategies of their major competitors. Today, many companies are adding digital e-learning to their sales training program. Online training may range from a simple text and video based product training or internet based sales exercises that help build sales skills. Now, training can also incorporate some sophisticated simulations that recreate dynamics of real life sale calls. Training online instead of on site has several benefits, such as cutting travel costs and other training costs. Also, online tends to take up less time of the salesperson's selling time. Additionally, it also makes on demand training available to salespeople, letting them train as little or as much as needed and wherever and whenever that training might be required. To attract good salespeople, a company must have a very appealing compensation plan. There's almost always a fixed amount, usually some sort of a salary, that gives the salesperson some stability of income, allows them to do some personal budgeting. Then there's a variable amount, which might be compensation or bonus based on sales performance. It basically rewards a salesperson for greater effort and success. Compensation should direct salespeople toward activities that are consistent with the overall sales force and marketing objectives. Salesperson's compensation also includes the reimbursement of expenses and fringe benefits, perhaps a car. The goal of supervision is to help salespeople work smart by doing the right things in the right way. Many firms help salespeople identify target customers and set call objectives. Some may also specify how much time a salesforce should spend prospecting for new accounts and set other time management priorities. Now, one tool that's used is a weekly, monthly, or annual call plan that shows which customers and processes to call on and which activities to carry out. Another tool is the time and duty analysis. In addition to the time spent selling, the salesperson also spends time traveling, waiting, taking breaks, and doing administrative chores. Today, most firms have adopted Salesforce automation systems, which are computerized, digitized Salesforce operations that let salespeople work more effectively anytime, anywhere. Companies now routinely equip their salespeople with laptops and tablets, smartphones, video conferencing technology, and customer contact and relationship management software. The result is better time management, improved customer service, lower sales cost, and higher sales performance. The goal of motivation is to encourage salespeople to work hard and energetically toward a sales force goal. Management can boost sales force morale and performance through its organizational climate, sales quota, and positive incentives. Now, organizational climate describes the feeling that basically a salesperson has about their opportunities, values, and the rewards for good performance. Many companies motivate their salespeople by setting sales quotas, basically a standard that states the amount a salesperson should sell and how sales should be divided among the company's products. Compensation is often related to how well salespeople meet their quotas. Companies also use various positive incentives to increase sales force efforts. Sales meetings provide social occasions, breaks from the routine, a chance to meet and talk with company brass, and an opportunity to basically air feelings and identify with a larger group. But as you can see in this picture, if it's not done well, it can actually backfire. We must remember that part of the reason for salespeople to get together and to get off the road and not make sales is part of that social climate. It must be allowed. Companies also sponsor sales contests to spur sales forces to make selling efforts above and beyond what they normally would expect. These incentives could include merchandising, cash rewards, trips, and even profit sharing plans. Management gets information about its salespeople in several ways. The most important source is sales reports, including weekly or monthly work plans and long-term territorial marketing plans. Salespeople write up their complex activities on call reports and turn in expense reports for which they are either partly or wholly reimbursed. A company can also monitor the sales and profits of performance data in the salesperson's territory. Additional information generally comes from personal observations, customer surveys, and talking basically with the other salespeople. Now, various sales force reports and other information is gathered in order for sales management evaluating each member of the sales force. Formal evaluations force managers to develop and communicate clear standards for judging performance. It also provides salespeople with constructive feedback and it motivates them, hopefully, to perform well. Now, on a broader sense, management should evaluate the performance of the entire sales force as a whole, not just individuals. They have to work together in order for the company to be successful. This deeper look at each step in the Salesforce management process just scratches the surface of this complex process that all organizations must successfully accomplish to reach organizational goals. Now, you may only be thinking of companies that are for profit, but understand that even not-for-profit organizations need to have a sales force. In this case, they may be looking for donors or grants. They're still needing a force of people who can help them develop situations and opportunities to gather money for their various causes. Now we move on to sales promotion. Now, sales promotion consists of short-term incentives to encourage the purchase or sale of products or services. Whereas advertising offers reasons to buy the product or service, sales promotions offer a reason to buy now. Now, there are several factors that have contributed to the rapid growth in sales promotions. First, product managers view promotion as an effective short-term sales tool. Second, companies face more competition, and competition are using sales promotion to help differentiate their offers. Third, advertising efficiency has basically declined because of the rising cost, media clutter, and basically some legal restraints. And finally, consumers are demanding lower prices and better deals. Sales promotions can help attract customers, especially the more thrifty-oriented consumer. Sales promotion tools are used by most organizations, profit or not for profit. And sales promotion objectives will vary greatly from organization to organization, but most are organized in sort of the similar pattern. Now, they may target the final buyer through what we call customer promotions. Sellers may use consumer promotions to urge short-term customer buying or to boost customer brand engagement. Think about end of the year sales in cars. Retailers and wholesalers are reached through trade promotions. Objectives for trade promotions generally include getting the retailer to carry a new item, or maybe even more inventory of a current item. We'd like you to buy ahead, so in perhaps the summer you buy Christmas products, or promote the company's products and basically try to gain more shelf space. Business customers are connected through business promotions. So business promotions are usually used to generate business leads, again, to stimulate purchasing, and also to reward those bigger customers. And finally, to motivate salespeople, Salesforce promotions are often used, such as trips, bonuses, and upgraded benefits. Customer promotions include a huge wide range of tools. Now, there can be far more than the 8 that I'll discuss here on this slide, but these are some of the most common that we tend to see around. Now, samples are offered basically small trial amounts of a product. Sampling is very effective, but it's also an expensive way to introduce a new product or create excitement for an existing one. Coupons are certificates that save buyers money when they purchase a specific product. They're quite often some sort of stipulation, but the saving is at the time of purchase. Whereas rebates or cash refunds are like coupons, except for the price reduction occurs after the purchase rather than at the retail outlet. The customer sends the proof of purchase to the manufacturer, which then refunds part of the purchase price by mail. Now, price packs are also called cents off deals. They offer consumers savings off the regular price of a product. These products are often marked with the price directly on the label or package. There's also something called brand packing, where we see two related items that are banded together at a reduced cost, such as these 2 tubes of toothpaste. Now, premiums are goods that are offered either for free or low cost as an incentive to buy a product. So in this case, we see if you buy one ticket, the premium is that you're going to get a free kids ticket. Sometimes the premiums are why people purchase a product. Now, advertising specialties, are also called promotional products, are useful articles that generally imprint with some sort of name of the advertiser on it, or a logo, or some message, and they're quite often given as gifts or little incentives to consumers. Point of purchase or POP promotions include displays and demonstrations that take place at the point of sale. And then marketers can promote brands through event marketing or event sponsorship. Firms can create their own brand marketing events or serve as basically the sole sponsor of a current event that's created by somebody else. So think of a Walk for Life. Of course, one of the most famous is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It is important for anybody going into business or into marketing to understand the legal difference between a contest and a sweepstake. There are legal differences in these, and you can get your company in trouble if you do it wrong. So a contest is also referred to as a competition or a game of skill. For a promotion to be defined as a contest, a competition, or a game of skill, the entry must put forth some level of skill or effort into their entry, which basically will later be judged by a panel of judges to determine a final winner. A sweepstake is also referred to as a giveaway or a game of chance. For a promotion to be defined as either a sweepstakes, a giveaway, or a game of chance, it must have a method of entry free from consideration, a random method to determine the winner, and a prize or prizes to be awarded. So let's look at consideration first. Contests, the people must put forth some level of effort, as we said, such as writing an essay, creating something artistic, or maybe even physically challenging other contestants, such as in the Nathan's Hot Dog Championship. In a sweepstakes, you cannot ask a person or require an entry to purchase a product or pay a fee to receive an entry. This would be viewed as monetary consideration, and it is not legal in a game of chance. You must also ensure that there's no monetary consideration, such as asking a person to put forth too much effort or skill in order to receive an entree into the sweepstakes. Now, as far as fees are concerned, in a contest, the presence of consideration in a skill-based contest is not problematic, as it would be in a sweepstakes. Now, depending on the state for which you're running your contest, you may be able to require product purchase or even an entry fee without offering some sort of a free alternative method of entry. This makes contests appealing to brands who wish to increase product sales in alignment with their promotion. With a sweepstake, you must remove all elements of consideration by ensuring that an entry can obtain entries completely free of payment or with not much effort. That doesn't mean you can't ask people to purchase a product or take a lengthy survey. You just need to make sure that they have a choice. You need to make sure they are not penalized or rewarded for their choice, meaning you can't give a person who purchases a product 5 entries and only 2 entries to a person who chooses to enter without purchasing your product. Everyone must be able to get the same number of entries despite the entry method they choose. So think about the publisher's clearinghouse. Even if you buy a magazine, you should have the same number of entries as if you didn't publish or buy one of their magazines. Now, skill versus chance. In a contest, it's contested. All winners must be determined based on the skill they put forth. At the end of the contest, all entries must be judged equally based upon preset judging criteria: grammar, originality, creativity, and an essay. To ensure there's no gambling or lottery law violation, there can be no chance elements in the skills based on the contest. All entries must be judged equally, whether you have 5 submissions or 5 million. Generally, they need to be written out in advance. In a sweepstakes, all winners must be determined by chance element, such as a random drawing from all entries received or an instant winning element in some sort of pre-programmed randomly. Think about any of those things that McDonald's has when you get a certificate and you open it up and it says, hey, you're a winner. So let's talk about prizes. Contests like sweepstakes, the prize or prizes you offer in your incentive should encourage people to enter. Since contests require skills or effort, the prize you award will make a huge impact on the number of participants you receive. Whereas with a sweepstake, the prize is your carrot or your incentive to get a person to enter your sweepstakes. Prizes must be determined and clearly described within your official rules. Your total prize pool is $5,000 in value, and you're operating and advertising your sweepstakes to residents of things like Florida, New York, or Rhode Island, bonding and registration may be required. Each state can have different rules as far as sweepstakes. Now, the type of promotion you choose to run is up to you, and it depends heavily on your overall marketing objectives. In general, sweepstakes are fairly simple to plan and implement. You can create a simple microsite and collect entry information online to grow your database and use for future marketing efforts. If you advertise correctly, you could result in a viral impact, spreading your brand and messages to millions of consumers. Not too long ago, a few years ago, back when they were still making Star Trek movies, Cheerios decided to run a contest for people to have a walk-on part in the movie. They got over 10 million entries. Now, contests are typically more intimate, capturing a smaller audience. However, they can be an excellent way to obtain and generate content, which you can later use to market and advertise your brand. Contests typically require more administration in qualifying submissions and judges' entry, but you can hone in closer to your audience and use the creativity of the contest to grow your brand down the road. A great example of this is the Pillsbury Bake Off. Now, you may think that giving $1 million reward is a lot of money, but the truth is the day after that person wins that, they are on several national TV shows showing off the recipe. They get 10 minutes. Could you imagine how much money in advertising Pillsbury would spend for those 10 minutes on many of these major talk shows? So both of these are really good to use. Just make sure you clearly understand the rules for what a contest is and the rules for the sweepstakes. These are often heavily regulated, as I said, by the state. So make sure you understand your state rules. Manufacturers direct actually more sales promotion dollars toward retailers and wholesalers than it does to final consumers. Trade promotion can persuade resellers to carry a brand, give it shelf space, promote it in advertising, even push it to consumers. Now, manufacturers will use several different types of trade promotions. The manufacturer may just offer a straight discount off the list price on each case purchased during a certain period of time. This can also be called price off, off inventory, off list. So if we think about it, I make Christmas tree lights. I may offer a discount to Walmart if they'd buy these Christmas tree lights in February while I'm making them, because I have to produce them all year long to have enough for the Christmas season. So I would save on warehouse costing if Walmart would go ahead and purchase them now. We might also offer an allowance. There's all kinds of allowances. Maybe an example is taking some money off each case in return for the retailer's agreement to feature the manufacturer's product in some way. Use this along with sort of some of the consumer promotion, things like contests and premiums and displays. Then you've really got something going. These consumer promotion products can also be used in trade promotion. So in this case, I have an example of a Crayola display. If we put this pop display in and we also give some allowance money, this could really drive customers to our products in large retailers such as Walmart. Now, retailers may also be given free specialty advertising that carry the company's name, such as pens, pencils, memo pads, things like this. Probably not used as much for very large retailers like Walmart, but then think about some people who are purchasing large amounts of things that are smaller companies that may like this, or may turn around and give this away to their own customers. Manufacturers also just basically offer free goods, which could be extra cases of merchandise to resellers who buy a certain quantity or feature a certain flavor or size. It's one of the best ways to perhaps give your new product away out there is offer them a few free cases to put out there so that customers can actually purchase the product. A retailer doesn't want to put something out there if they feel like they're not going to make any money on that. Every square inch of a retail space has to sell product. But if it didn't cost me anything to get it, then I might be willing to take the risk. For the manufacturer, it gives an opportunity for them to get that product out there, sort of push it out. And lastly, we could also just simply offer push money, cash or gifts to dealers for their sales to sort of push the manufacturer's goods out there. So if you'll allow me to put this product in your store, I'll give you a few cases. In fact, I'll even give you a little money because we know that that space should be generating revenue. Even if I give you the free product, you'd still be losing revenue. So I'll give you some free cases and a little push money. So, beyond selecting the type of promotion to use, marketers must make several other decisions in designing full scale promotional programs. First, they must determine the size of the incentive. A certain minimum incentive basically is necessary if the promotion is, to be successful. A larger incentive will produce more sales response. However, you also have the opposite, and that a larger incentive may get customers used to that incentive, and when it goes away, they lose sales. A marketer must also set conditions for participation. Incentives may be offered to everyone, or they may only be offered to a select group. We also need to determine how we're going to promote and distribute the promotional program. There's going to be costs for that. And the question comes is, will the cost basically justify the promotion? Now, the length of the promotion is one that always needs to be assessed. If the sales promotional period is too short, many prospects will basically miss it. However, if it runs too long, that deal will lose some of its act now force that tends to be out there that pushes people to go ahead and make these short-term purchases. And with anything, we have to have evaluation. Marketers should work to measure the return on their sales promotion investments, just as we would seek to assess the return on any other marketing activity. The first half of this lecture was really taking a better look at personal sales and the importance of personal selling in an organization. After all, if we don't sell a product, we don't have an organization. And remember, personal sales doesn't matter if we're talking about a for-profit or not-for-profit organization. A not-for-profit organization, let's say National Public Radio, still needs to be able to raise funds. They may not be called salespeople, but basically they're doing the same job. In the second half of the presentation, we talked a little bit about Salesforce promotion campaigns, what they are, the different types of tools that are used, and the importance of understanding the difference between a contest and a sweepstakes. You also learned that basically trade promotion is a little bit more important than actually customer promotion, because if we can't get it into the store, the customer can't buy it. Well, I'll see you in the next lecture. Have a good one. Miss Birmingham out.